Salutations, friends, indeed. You the sheeple, that's EWE the sheeple, have turned Cannabis Universe into the Tower of Babel with your notions and nonsense regarding freedom, such as, but not limited to, your outlooks, your opinions, your feelings, your traditions, and God help us all, your friggin' beliefs, all of which has supported tyranny and denied us freedom in the name of the evil empire. I mean, why don't you just stand out there and start chanting 40 million more? So to honor the one pothead busted every 22 seconds, every year by the enemies of freedom throughout Cannabis Universe, I will take a fat sack to the head. Refreshing.
That's Thorne Peters taking what he calls the Cannabag Challenge.
So potheads gather in the real world and online to rally in support of freedom and end up hollering out or posting up our rival positions like we're a bunch of ignorant-ass gangbangers. Repeal, abrogate, decriminalize, medicalize, regulate, deregulate, reschedule, deschedule, reform, cognitive dissonance, strawman, jury nullification, legalization, none of the above. Every time two or more flocktards gather in the name of freedom, we the peeps get buried in the fallout of sheeple dumb shit. We got brainwashed drones seeking to bring forth change in order to secure our freedom by creating a legal system to control the access to said freedom through propositions, bills, proposals, ordinances, and legislation that will at least modify the prohibition of cannabis in the name of slow and steady progress for some of the people, some of the time, in certain places under particular conditions. I mean, hey, that's the best we can hope to do, right?
Wait for it.
Well, way to go, you witless dunderheads. Your ideotologies confess to committing a crime for toking, dealing, and growing pot, then confirms that pot is a dangerous Schedule I narcotic, while co-signing Cannabis Universe to all the death and destruction involved with the drug culture. And then it's off to court to beg to be forgiven or dismissed on the grounds that we're not as bad as criminals as other criminals, yet still criminals, and that our drug is not as bad as the other drugs, yet still a drug. Your moronic rants for freedom have made us accomplices to the scourge of drug cartels, big pharma, gang violence, crime waves, prostitution, and drug overdoses. So, the next time you feel the need to speak on pot, wrap your lips around your paraphernalia and shut the fuck up. Thank you very much. I have ventured deep into the bowels of the belly of the beast, risking my freedom, my livelihood, my very life, so that I could take a pot bust and drag the evil empire to the trial of the millennium to make them face charges for their crimes against humanity, their violations of our civil rights, and their desecration of nature.
Breaking news at 10. A Shelby County club closed down. Deputies say it was really a front for drug dealing and using.
$1 million blunt hunt, the violent crime capital of America, people. This is what you get for your tax dollars. Not a blunt, not a joint, not a gram, not a pill. Just $1 million worth of cops and nothing to show for it. That's why we're in the violent crime capital, kids. America's dumbest police force at work.
Peters was in jail on pot charges for 572 days, costing taxpayers more than $53,000 before he finally went to trial.
Months after he was charged with using his Millington nightclub to sell drugs. Part of the case against self-proclaimed Kingpin Thorne Peters was dismissed this week.
Now Peters is calling out those who put him behind bars for nearly 2 years for what he says was no reason.
I spoke with Peters hours before his release from 201 Poplar.
I'm one of 25 million pot-smoking Americans.
Not only has the misdemeanor pot case gone to a jury, Thorne Peters, who calls himself a kingpin, is representing himself in court.
Yeah, so just pick one. Are you corrupt or are you incompetent?
At times, the judge did seem frustrated.
You may represent yourself. You have a constitutional right to do so, but you have to conform yourself just like any attorney.
Investigated my club for 9 months to discover I smoked pot. You couldn't figure that out the first day you went to the club. We smoked pot in there every day. They didn't come and arrest me for smoking pot. They planted evidence, they falsified reports, they committed and suborned perjury to make it look like I was a drug dealer. And now their house of cards is folding on them.
As for him, this is what the case comes down to.
Who are you most outraged at? The pot-smoking hedonist who loves smoking pot with smoking hot women, or the state who has gone about spending an unbelievable amount of tax dollars?
On 4/20, that 4/20, he returned to the courthouse, toking on an apple, to take a protest bus to fight this unjust law by demanding that our constitutional rights be upheld.
Peters has made a splash across our air before, representing himself in court cases involving pot.
Grab your blunts, your doobies, your bongs, your pipes. Head to the nearest courthouse, the Capitol building, and smoke some pot. How you doing? Mark Luttrell. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. Back when you were at my club?
That's right.
This is a book all about you. You might want to read it. Yeah, you come out very well in it.
I did.
Well, it comes all out of how you guys launched a 9-month-long sting operation in my club where we smoked pot every night and never caught anybody smoking pot.
Yeah.
5 different law enforcement agencies. 19 months of wrongful incarceration followed by a trial for possession of pot. Where the state said I wasn't in possession of pot. Wasn't exactly your finest hour.
We're getting a close-up look at a man known for his colorful and outspoken behavior when it comes to marijuana use. Thorne Peters was arrested this week on drug charges.
According to police, officers cut a lock on a gate around the house. Inside were 2 pit bulls. This one, Muggles, was hit with a shotgun blast.
He would rather die standing free than living on his knees begging.
Thorne Peters may be Memphis's most outspoken pot activist.
It's madness, and they're spending a fortune on this insanity to say, hey, look, we're out there fighting crime.
Thorne Peters is here, waiting to go before a judge on a possession charge.
So that she can say, well, it's not because I'm being forced out, it's because I had other things to do than be in court today. So this is a political move.
Now, Austin, you spoke with a man who claims he posed as a woman on Facebook and exchanged sexually explicit messages with Detective Beans.
Kingpin Thorne Peters, a self-styled prophet crusading to legalize cannabis, says he sent the post to Detective Beans out of revenge. He says he wanted to get the detective in trouble because he says Beans campaigned to close down his Millington area club 7 years ago.
I was given 19 months in jail.
Peters wanted revenge, so he set up a Facebook profile of a woman and says he messaged Detective Beans. Peters says over the course of 3 days, they exchanged more than 1,800 messages via Facebook Messenger. He says many were sexually explicit. Peters says the two arranged to rendezvous at Applebee's and that the detective thought he was meeting a woman named McCartney Stella. Instead, it was Peters who confronted Beans and recorded it all.
Here on company time. I merely presented the facts. This is what this man was doing on company time. This man was doing this with your taxpayer resources. From his company Facebook page, driving around his company car, but more importantly, this is how he was representing your community. New plot twist from the evil empire today. They've had to recuse themselves, the judge and the assistant district attorney, because I've given them information of the malfeasance they've committed. So what judge will be left in this building that's not connected to the malfeasance of the other judges, the sheriff, the district attorney, the former district attorney who's the Homeland Security Commissioner, the former sheriff who's now mayor? I mean, who's left? Now, after every trip to the court, I bring forth knowledge like a spoil of war so that I can share it unto the masses, so that we, the peeps, can defend ourselves against any and all pot busts of any weight or magnitude in just 3 simple legal words. Say it with me. No mens rea.
No mens rea.
You must inform the court that you are ready to proceed pro se to jury trial. And just say, no mens rea. It's the plea to set us free.
No mens rea.
Now, don't take my word for it. That would be foolish. Just use your own 2 ears to listen to Judge Paula Scahan, the first openly gay judge in all of Tennessee. Listen to her confess to me in open court, for the record, that mens rea is a matter for the jury to deliberate. Case closed.
Okay, because I'm not really seeing motions, I'm seeing...
Two things that are styled motions to dismiss, and they were filed with the clerks. They basically detail the same kind of things that Mr. Peters is saying now.
The law.
Okay, you're a little confused on the law when you're arguing things like mens rea.
That was the same argument made by Rosa Parks. Unless you can say that Rosa Parks belonged at the back of the bus, you cannot say that there's mens rea for smoking pot, growing pot, and dealing pot. When I have not, I have consent, and you cannot present an accuser. The Sixth Amendment, these are the constitutional laws. Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson never heard of 3917-417.
Okay,
Listen to the
Peters.
lawyers hiss when you mention the Constitution. That is a disgrace.
Mr. Peters, stop, okay? Some of the things that you're arguing, as far as mens rea, those are issues for a trial in front of a jury. As far as mens rea, those are issues for a trial in front of a jury. As far as mens rea, those are issues for a trial in front of a jury.
Indeed.
Okay?
So why would yous be so fucking lame that you would ignore the law in a court of law as a defense to a pot bust in order to blather on about some conceptualized ideal you have about an argument you can make that's going to carry the day? No mens rea.
No mens rea.
Now these primetime shiesty defense lawyers, particularly those traitors over at Normal, will not make the legal argument no mens rea in a pot bust. Because if they prove that it is not unlawful to toke, deal, and grow pot, and that our constitutional rights are being violated with every pot bust every 37 fucking seconds, then these slimy slugs will be out of a job. So they negotiate and deal away our freedom a piece at a time. And you show them gratitude and pay them a tribute for their treachery. This is why we must represent ourselves in these three easy peasy legal words.
No mens rea.
So by law, pot is not illegal. Why are we going to the pulpits to get pot legalized when it's already legal and never has been illegal? No mens rea.
State law does make it illegal.
A state law used to make it illegal for Negroes to sit at lunch counters or to marry, but there was no mens rea for them to sit at a lunch counter or marry.
In order to fight that, you would go to the court system and
say no mens rea. That's why I took the time to get arrested to face 12 years in prison.
Once we the peeps join together and take this firm legal stand and prove beyond any doubt to the legal industrial complex that we will no longer sell out and sign over our rights and freedom, these defense attorneys are going to start making the legal argument for no mens rea, just so they can stay afloat while we sink their ship. But there is only one way that this quest for freedom will topple the evil empire.
No mens rea.
So henceforth, you must only and always use these three words and only these three words to make our case for liberty and justice for all. No mens rea. That is our proof positive that we are not criminals, that we are already free, that pot is not a drug, and that constitutional rights supersede criminal codes that are based on political policies. No mens rea says it all. So say it over and over and over again, like a punishing hammer on the dull skulls of the moron majority. No mens rea. No mens rea. No mens rea.
No mens rea.
Enough said.
All right, party peeps. It's time for you to go to ThornePeters.com. That's THORNE Peters.com. Check out his books, read his poetry, listen to his music, purchase his original designs on Styleware in his gift shop, and enjoy pics of a wild time. All that and more is waiting for you at ThornePeters.com. That's THORNE Peters.com, the world's most evocative website.
I am a pot smoker. I love smoking pot with smoking hot women.